Shane Van Gisbergen has 2 wins, but NASCAR's new rules might leave him watching the playoffs from home. With no road courses left, SVG is officially one bad wreck away from a complete disaster. Saturday night at Richmond Raceway ended with Van Gisbergen sitting 16th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings, and 16th is the very last seat on the bus. It is the final spot inside the chase field, and directly behind him, Ryan Preece and that RFK Racing Ford are waiting on one single mistake. The math is stark. Van Gisbergen carries 567 points. Preece sits on 517. That is 50 points of daylight, with the Dollar Tree 301 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway this Sunday and the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona International Speedway on August 29th, standing between him and the postseason. And there is not a single road course left anywhere on the schedule to save him. That last sentence is the whole story, because NASCAR tore up its own rulebook this season, and the change is squeezing Van Gisbergen harder than almost anybody else in the garage. Rewind to 2025. Win a race, and you were locked into the playoffs. Van Gisbergen won 5 of them in his rookie season, the most ever by a first-year driver in the history of NASCAR's top division, and he stamped his ticket back in June at Mexico City while sitting 33rd in the championship standings. He never had to be good on an oval. He just had to be untouchable on road courses, and he absolutely was. That safety net is gone. NASCAR brought back the chase format for 2026, and it is ruthlessly simple. The top 16 drivers in regular season points after 26 races advance to a 10-race run at the championship. There are no eliminations, no win and you're in clause, and no shortcut whatsoever for the road course specialist. Points and only points. Van Gisbergen has admitted exactly what that means. He was recruited to America for that old system, and the moment it disappeared, he knew he had to become a legitimate oval racer. Van Gisbergen lost a position in the standings and still walked out of Virginia in better shape than when he arrived. He was buried outside the top 30 in the running order, early in the Cook out 400. Austin Cindric, meanwhile, was delivering the best drive of his entire season, hauling that team Penske Ford from 23rd on the grid all the way to a 3rd-place finish and leapfrogging Van Gisbergen for 15th in the standings. Instead, crew chief Stephen Doran rolled the dice and it landed. At the start of the final stage, Doran kept Van Gisbergen out on badly worn tires and took the wave around, throwing the car completely off sequence and suddenly into the top 15. The quick caution he was praying for never came. But once the green flag pit cycle unfolded, the yellow finally waved at the perfect moment, and the 97 cycled right back inside the top 15 on old rubber. He defended that track position under the Richmond lights for the rest of the night and took the checkered flag in 14th, matching his result at the Virginia short track a year ago. Preece came home 17th. Neither man scored a stage point. Van Gisbergen arrived at plus 47 and left at plus 50. Ugly night, better position. That is how bubble racing works. Now let's talk about why that 14th place run matters far more than the number suggests, because the oval transformation happening inside Trackhouse Racing is real, and it is measurable. Through the first 12 oval races of 2026, Van Gisbergen's average finish improved to 19.25. Over that same stretch of the 2025 schedule, it sat at 27.5. That is an 8-position swing across essentially the same slate of racetracks, and he beat his previous year result at 9 of the 11 venues both seasons shared. The milestones stack up from there. At Nashville Superspeedway in late May, he finished 5th, the first oval top 5 of his Cup Series career, and it arrived in his 50th career oval start. At Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta, he ran 6th. Then came North Wilkesboro Speedway in July, and that was the genuine breakthrough. He led 49 laps, the most he has ever led on an oval, ran 355 laps inside the top 5, and finished 5th again. His previous career best for laps spent inside the top 5 at any racetrack was 110. He even got on the team radio mid-race, honestly surprised to be leading, asking his crew what he was supposed to do now. That is a driver discovering an entirely new skill in real time on live television, and it is the single reason he is still inside this chase picture at all. But the man hunting him down is not going away quietly, and the remaining schedule sets up beautifully for Ryan Preece. Preece is one of the very best superspeedway racers in the Cup Series garage. He has openly called Daytona his favorite racetrack on the calendar. And the garage has not forgotten what happened in April at Talladega Superspeedway. Van Gisbergen was running inside the top 10 on the final lap when Preece's Ford got loose and spun directly across his nose. SVG got sandwiched, the 97 Chevrolet was wrecked, and he was classified 20th after a top 10 was sitting right there. The driver who ended his Talladega afternoon is now the driver chasing him to the cutline, and the regular season finale is on a superspeedway. Behind Preece, Ross Chastain sits 18th at 63 points back, with Brad Keselowski and Eric Jones 78 and 81 points adrift. Realistically, this is a two-car fight. So what does Van Gisbergen actually need over these next 2 weekends? NASCAR raised engine output at short tracks to 750 horsepower this year, and that flat, low-grip Loudon surface rewards patience, tire management, and clean restarts, exactly the areas where Van Gisbergen has visibly improved all summer. A quiet, mistake-free top 15 there gets the job done. Qualifying is the pressure point. Track position at Loudon is notoriously difficult to manufacture once the green flag drops, and Van Gisbergen has repeatedly said that starting further forward is what unlocks his best oval races. Roll-off outside the top 20 on Saturday and Sunday afternoon turns into a 300-lap traffic jam with the chase on the line. Then comes Daytona, and Daytona is where seasons go to die. 160 laps, 400 miles under the lights, a full pack of Cup cars running inches apart at nearly 200 miles an hour. Van Gisbergen already knows how this movie ends. He started 13th in the Daytona 500 back in February, genuinely led the race, then got swallowed whole by a 17-car pile up on his way to a 30th place finish. The maximum any driver can score in a single race is 60 points. So Preece needs a monster result and a full disaster from the 97 car to flip this thing. But a 50-point cushion evaporates in about 4 seconds when the big one triggers in turn 3 and you happen to be running in the wrong lane. Understand what is genuinely on the line here. This is a driver with 8 Cup Series victories. He has already won twice this season at Watkins Glen International and Sonoma Raceway. He is also within striking distance of Cindric at 7 points and Bubba Wallace at 20. So climbing out of this bubble is absolutely on the table. If he makes it, the standings reset and he starts the chase at 2,000 points, 100 behind whoever takes the regular season title, with 10 races to prove the oval progress is permanent. Where do you think SVG lands when the checkered flag drops at Daytona? Drop your call in the comments and subscribe, because we are covering every single lap of this cutoff fight.